Hi team, welcome to our team training. It's end of month. It's Wednesday the 30th of November, so I hope everyone's had an amazing November and you're setting yourself up for a really great December and Christmas and New Year. So anyway, today we just wanted to cover, I guess we had the opportunity, some of the leaders of the team, myself, Sam, Natalie and other leaders also got to tune in to training, leadership training from Celine Egan. She came to the Gold Coast. She also went to Melbourne just to give half a day to all the leaders to help, I guess, with what she has learnt and gathered over her very long career in network marketing and direct distribution. She has an amazing career. She's built amazing businesses, and now she's one of the co-owners of the I guess larger franchise of Juice Plus here in Australia. So I'm going to hand it over to Nat to just start off with sharing what she did get out of it, what she could hear, because it was limited on the Zoom, given the room that we're in and the audio visual. So she did get some things, and also just whatever else she wants to share, then I'll share, and then probably Sam will share. And then, of course, at the end, we'll open it up for questions. But feel free to make it interactive and throw some comments or questions in the chat box as well as we go. All right, I'll hand it over to you, Nat.
Awesome. Morning, girls. One of the biggest things that I probably learnt, I had a few lessons along the way, I guess, or some things that highlighted to me as Celine was talking. The first of those things was, wherever possible, make it available that you get to that event, because trying to hear the important things that she was talking about online, where there was double echo and I had double distractions, was absolutely insane. So my first lesson was remove obstacle and make it available that I can get there. That was definitely one of the first things. But the parts that I heard pretty well, that I could hear, was Celine was talking about to be successful, there was really 4 things that were really quite clear. So if I've got the wording mixed up, I'm sure Kate and Sam will fix it up for me. But one of the things was that yeah, that's okay. The first thing that she talked about was that, be specific about what it is that your intentions are within your business. Really own, I guess, one, who you are and what you want to achieve out of it and why you do this business. She also then went on to talk about clarification. So clarify to yourself and going forward whatever else there is that you're wanting to achieve out of it. So I took a lot out of that, because I guess for me, like, I've been in the business now for 14 months, but we often talk about, we've got those people that put their foot in the water and I'll see what happens. And each month rolls on. And I know for myself, I guess I started out like that, and I still slip back into that old routine of, I'm very specific about what I want out of it, but perhaps I need to add more clarification to what I need to actually do to make that a daily habit for me. So that's probably some things that I didn't get sort of too much, or I couldn't hear terribly well, with Celine sort of going into the depths of those things. But I do know that, they're definitely key things that I took out of it. Over, I guess, the week, and probably this month alone, being end of month today, I learnt some really key things out of my own month, and sort of what I had been doing on a specific daily basis, and then what I focused on this month in comparison to previous months. For me this month, I found an old book that had my old DMO from when I first started, and the crazy things that I used to get up to when I started my business compared to what I actually put into it now. And some of those things were about, you know, really specific about when I was following up conversations, and really specific about, you know, having a grid to actually do that. And I guess for me, I'd stopped doing a lot of that grid work, which meant that I was missing a lot of follow-up opportunities. I've had probably one of my better months this month, I'd say, that I've had in a long time. And in this month, just by going back to a couple of people that, you know, I've had on my list for, I would probably say 14 months, the longest part of my business, both of them have actually become customers, and finally have reached into that phase of, you know, okay, well, we do sort of understand now what Natalie's talking about, because she's actually seriously having a conversation and she's coming from that heart place. So I've really switched over some of those things in this month, in the way that I'm communicating about the products with people, but also my intention when I'm talking to them too. And I think, you know, when you get to that point where you're changing your intention, or, you know, we all like to say that we're here to help other people, but there is also the other side, that there's a business and we're trying to, you know, make a living from it as well. But I've found probably most of my success this month has really come from, you know, trying to push that to the side. Yes, I'm definitely honest that, you know, this business is going to pay me well into the future, but my true value has come from adding to those people and to those conversations in the beginning. So yeah, that was a big learning that I've taken out this month. And it's really sad to look back and see the two people that I've added as customers this month and gone, you know what? If I had spent the time in the conversation in the first place, and truly understand what they were wanting from this and not what I was wanting, you know, they might have been in a slightly better health position for a little bit longer. So yeah, they were a couple of things that I guess I took out from this month. And yeah, they're probably my biggest, Kate, I would say. I missed a lot from Celine's training, as you know.
Awesome. Thanks, Nat. So I guess from my perspective, it's funny, you know, Celine sort of said we do lots of training, right? We do weekly with Adam, we do the game plan, we've got the conference, and some of the stuff that we hear regularly over and over and over and over again. But the first thing she said was to approach the training on Saturday with fresh ears, like you've never heard it before, even if you have, and really take something new out of it. And I you know, I have to say I'm still learning, but some of the leaders that are NMD's 50 plus club are thinking, what am I going to get out of today? But even they walked away with something, because that's the first thing she said, and we all sat there and reframed where we were coming from with fresh ears. So I think that's really important when you show up for training. And I'm definitely going to take that approach too, is to show up with fresh ears, regardless of how many times you've heard Start Strong. We all still need Start Strong, because there's stories on there, there's things on there that take time to click. That if we hear it from a different perspective or in a different mood or mind frame, it has a greater impact. So, you know, some of the things that I wrote down, obviously fresh ears first time, be open, and obviously the other thing she said too was, how will you go and teach this training? And so I really thought that was great too, as me as a leader and these leaders here presenting this training today, was how am I going to best present the information. So one great exercise that we did, I'm going to try and do it here, was it was about basically responsibility and self-responsibility. And so this is what she did. So basically, you know, if everyone's got a piece of paper and a pad, I'd like you to do this exercise. So draw a line, and above the line is, I want you to write 100% responsible. So 100% responsible above the line. And then below the line, 3 simple words. The first one is blame. The second one is shame. And the third one is justify. Okay. So I think she also mentioned a book at this point, The Success Principles. So if you want to write that down as well, if you're into audiobooks or reading books, The Success Principles. So, you know, she basically talked about her own experience in direct distribution, and talking about when she was playing above the line, so when she was 100% self-responsible, and when she was playing below the line. So she was either using the blame, the shame, or the justify. Now, obviously, blame is where we look outward at every reason why we're not achieving what we want to achieve or what we set out to achieve. So we blame it on the company. You know, the franchisee fee has just gone up. That's why I can't get any new team. There's a delay. They're not answering my phone calls. I can't get through to them. The compensation plan, you know, really doesn't reward us early on, and I'm not making enough money. So blaming is looking outward. So when have you blamed the lack of a result on something or someone else? Shame, kind of struggling to remember shame. Maybe Sam will remember shame. Let me unmute Sam. Do you remember shame?
Yeah, so shame was more in a voice, like, could I do it, like questioning yourself more. And then I think, hang on, let me just see if I'm reading the right stuff.
Yeah, so was it shaming yourself? Oh, Sam's gone.
Yeah, it's more like you get down on yourself, like, oh, I'm not good enough, or I can't do that, or it's not something I can do, or say to go over here.
It's all right.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's a bit better.
Yeah. So like Celine put the example of she's introverted, so for her going out and networking is a big scary thing. So the shame thing is saying, oh, I can't do that, I'm an introvert. You know what I mean? Like, you're not blaming someone else, but you've boxed yourself into that category. Whereas when you're living above the line with the shame sort of things, you're looking at things and going, okay, what do I need to do this? So for her, she reframed networking as friend finding. She went out and found friends.
Yeah, awesome. So that's what shame is doing, and I guess we've all had that inner voice that said we're not good enough, we can't do it, that's why we can't find team, because we're not good at networking. And justify is when you let yourself off the hook all the time and go, well, I can't do it because I've got 2 kids and my husband doesn't support me. Or, you know, I've got twins and I don't get out of the house, I can't meet anyone. Or I'm introverted and I find it really hard to talk to people. So, of course, it's going to be hard for me, but that's okay. You know, let yourself off the hook all the time. So when we're...
I think also with Kate, with Justify, it was an acceptance of what you've done. So because Sam and I, well, she ran through obviously on the live thing that she did, but with Justify, it was something along the lines of that. Almost acceptance of the result that you'd got because of, you know, well, that's okay. I didn't reach the goal. My goal was to find 3 customers. I didn't reach that because I'm busy, I'm this, I'm that, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And really not owning the fact that the result that you wanted, you didn't get. You just didn't get it because you didn't put the effort into what it was. So it was more justification of what you were putting in to really get the outcome.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So all those examples are when we're playing below the line. Okay, and being 100% responsible is accepting everything that we do and don't do as, you know, our own doing or undoing, and not beating ourselves up, but just accepting responsibility for it and going, well, it's if it's to be, it's up to me, nobody else. I've got the same products, the same program, I've got the same system, the same compensation plan as everybody else. So if it's to be, it's up to me. So that's a really great idea. It's also too about when you're down here, what can you do to stop yourself? And that was really important that she mentioned that. It was like, great, because I do that, so how can I stop that? And what she said is what is the one thing you can do to move back above the line? Stop and think about it. Okay, so when you're down here, stop and think, what can I do right now to move back above the line? Okay, and I remember clearly when I was stuck, probably about August, September last year, I felt challenged with finding new team. And so I was in that sort of, I guess, justification area, and I thought, you know what, I'm just really annoyed at myself right now. What's the one thing I can do? And so the one thing that I did was, for me, I thought I need to listen to GoPro and I need to listen to prospecting, only prospecting, and then I need to go out and do it. And so I did. And as a result of that, I got 2 teams. Now, I'm not saying that everything's going to be that easy, but it's just an example of where I stopped myself. I did one thing that was going to bring me back above the line, and I went out and I just acted on it. So I think if we can break it down to one simple change, it's just like our program. It's just like Juice Plus, swallowing Juice Plus. What's one simple change I can make right now to move back above the line? And to stop and catch yourself when you're blame, shame, or justifying. Okay, the next thing, I'm going to move on to is, you know, she talked about the period of, what's the word? Oh, I forget the word, but it's like crazy imbalance, you know, strategic imbalance. Everyone sort of thinks that, you know, they'll be able to, you know, do this business in perfect little time slots, and it's all going to fit in, and you're going to have this great strategic balance. And as soon as you don't have that, oh, it's too hard, I can't do this, I can't handle this imbalance. But we need to kind of, I guess, accept that imbalance, accept that, and enjoy that journey of it. And know that it's not forever, and we can still, you know, do the vase that Linda talks about with the big rocks, the pebbles and the sand. We can still live by that, but there's going to be imbalance. There's going to be times where, you know, you might have to grab the phone out of the drawer, or you might have to do that Zoom when you said you weren't going to have any Zoom time. Like, there is going to be a little bit of give and take, and it's going to be imbalanced. But she talked about getting clarity about who you are, what you want, and how to achieve it. She also talked about delegating low level or no value tasks. So low value or no value tasks, and put a value on your time. So for me, this year, I kind of, or just recently, I decided to pay a cleaner to do my housework, so I could be working instead of doing my housework. You know, it's $40 or $50 a week. But for me, you know, I'm able to then go out and work and achieve more in that time than what it cost me to get that done. So it's, you know, things like the gardening or that sort of stuff, that you can actually see that it's a low value task, and delegate it to someone else and go and get to work and make that money up. Because by working, you're more valuable. You know, that's a couple of customers. That's a new teamie that you could be getting in those 3 hours of cleaning your house. And obviously not everyone's going to be able to do that at different levels, but at some time you're going to have to make a decision and a trade-off where it might cost a little bit more in the beginning, but it's going to pay you back because you've put that time in, you've been able to sow those seeds, you've been able to get to work, that's now going to bring a flourishing harvest, you know, for you to go and basically harvest, garden to harvest. Also looking at like contacting your team and contacting your customers. She always used to send birthday cards out and Christmas cards out to customers and team. She also had an automated system for that. I know Moonpig is an online automatic thing where you can have an account, you can keep it topped up and it will automatically send cards out. There's definitely lots of different systems out there that you can create. So it's about, you know, that's a low value task that you can just pay an automated service to do, and plug it in and keep it updated so that your customers and your team know that you're thinking about them. And she talked about doing a time audit. So I think if people are really struggling with time management, you can sit down just like you do a food journal and write down what you do every day and see where you're spending time that really isn't bringing you a reward. You know, are you spending too much time on Facebook? After posting, are you sitting there scrolling for too long for no value whatsoever? You know, get on, post, send messages, get off. That kind of thing. So if you need it, do a time audit. And again, delegating low tasks. Like shopping. We all have access to online shopping and you can click and collect in most locations. Not every location. I see Danielle going, no you can't, that's not me, I'm in Ingham, shut up bitch. Okay, not every location, but I'm lucky enough to be on the Gold Coast. Sorry Danielle, but one day you might want to move here too. I'm working my way through the team. Nat's first. You know, you can do online shopping, you can click and collect, you can have it delivered. This is a low value task. It takes me at least an hour to do my grocery shopping. That includes travel, getting through the supermarket, but there's also prep of writing the list, right? So maybe an hour and a half each week that I could cut down to half an hour of prep, shopping online, and then just when I'm out, picking it up, putting it in the boot. And then looking at what you're good at. What am I actually good at? What do I do well? And freeing yourself up to do more of that. So I have to say, I know our business isn't built around party plan. I know that. But if you like entertaining, if you like bringing people together and you're good at it, do it. You know, obviously do everything else. Do the direct messages, the sharing, all of that. But if that's what you like doing, do it. Do what you're good at. Okay. The third thing was maximize your strengths. And the fourth thing is to multiply. So to duplicate, to teach that. And to know not everyone is like you. So if you love party plans, if you like getting people together in live events, not everyone's going to want to do that. So let them know they can do it on Facebook, send messages, talk one-on-one to people. There's plenty of ways to do this business, or not even on Facebook, right? She also did the other thing, which was ACE. Here, it's attitude, commitment, and effort. ACE. And this is another checkup. It's called the checkup from the neck up. Okay, so your attitude is your state of mind, your mental space. Gratitude, solution focused. Are you solution focused or problem focused? When there's a change, do you automatically think of the negative about the change or the positive? So for example, our products, which we found out on Saturday and everyone will find out, are going to have a 5% pay increase, a 5% price increase come January 1. Now, do you automatically think, oh my God, it's going to cost people more money? Or do you think, well, that's great. That's a sign of the economy increasing. Of course, our product price should increase. Petrol goes up, bread, milk goes up. Why should our product not go up? Okay, so what did you think when I said that? Were you negative or were you positive? So think about, are you problem focused or are you solution focused? Okay, and then there's your commitment. Do you show up? Do you plug in? Do you play full out? Okay, so are you regularly on an event and taking part? I know every single person that's sitting on this Zoom live right now, I can say yes. They show up, they plug in and they play full out, each and every one of you. And I hope the ones that are watching on recording can put their hand up too and say, yes, I fit that category. And I understand if people can't log on live to training at 10 o'clock in the morning because you've got work or other things to do. I get that. So I'm not saying that because you're not here, you're not plugging in. Watching the recording is plugging in. Attending a Zoom and doing a share or doing a part is playing full out, right? So just look at your commitment, okay? And when I say that as well, do you let any little inconvenience prevent you from showing up that day? Okay, I know last week I was texting Natalie on Tuesday afternoon. I was at the hospital in the emergency department with my son. I was still going to be on that Zoom, okay, even if I had to log in and start it from the hospital if I had to. And thankfully I didn't. I got home, I got the kids sorted, and I did the Zoom. But I could have made that afternoon, that incident, prevent me because it was an inconvenience and it put me in a bad space. But I didn't. I did it anyway. So, you know, people have lots of things, and obviously an illness prevents you from showing up. But, you know, did you have a bad day? Did you get beaten up by someone on Facebook and put you in a bad frame of mind, you decide not to show up? Did these little things get in the way of you showing up? You know, that's your commitment. Where's your commitment at? You know, I've had people going for promotions and setting their targets and, you know, life gets in the way. And, you know, last month it was this and it was the sister, and this month it's a brother-in-law, and next month it's going to be something else. And, you know, that's just commitment. That's just allowing life to prevent you. And it's called a circle of failure. You never get out of it because there's always something else. And you never push it aside and go, no, this is time for me. I'll deal with that issue in half an hour. I love the fact that our event was half an hour, by the way. I can deal with that in half an hour's time. Right now I'm going to do this and I'll deal with that in half an hour. You know, where's your commitment? And then the other thing is your effort. So have a look at your effort. Are you doing your grid? Are you following up? Are you using a calendar or a grid of some sort to record your conversations? And I love this comment. She said, write it down. People will die with their potential intact. So let's write that down. People will die with their potential intact. And it is so true. We all have, and Kira says it beautifully, we all have unlimited potential. Unlimited. The gifts that you have to give this world, and I don't care if it's in Juice Plus or like my best friend that I met for breakfast this morning, she's now a fully fledged barrister. Okay, that came with sacrifice. She spent $6,500 on a barrister's course and 6 weeks away from 3 children and a husband. Okay, she drove to Brisbane and did the course for 6 weeks. Her robes cost her another couple of $1,000, but she's a fully fledged barrister now. Lots of people would not do what she did, would not sacrifice. but she did it. That's her attitude, her commitment, and her effort. And now she's a barrister. So I don't care what it is that you do it at, but she'll never die with her potential intact. She will live it every single day. So will you die with your potential intact, or will you fulfill it? And will you show up and share it every single day? Okay. The other thing that I didn't mention before, which I love, and I'm probably going to touch on it right now, is that, you know, when chatting to your team or even with yourself and saying, you know, how are you going? Like, how are you actually going? And if there is a struggle there, if you said to them, what if it could be different? Okay. So as an example, people right now might be struggling for personal customers. Okay. And they're like, right, I'm really challenged right now. I've had a lot of cancellations. I'm struggling to find personal customers. I'm finding that really challenging. What if it could be different? What if you could change that? Okay. The other thing that she talked about too was if it's about, like, say for about, it's a struggle about sharing a business, and, you know, we're getting to the point where, you know, we've gone through all of our safe people and there's a chicken list, and we're not going to touch the chicken list yet because we don't want to do that. But what if you were just to write down 5 people in your life that opinions actually count? That if you had to ring them or turn to them and say, you know what, shit's hit the fan, you need to look after my kids and pay my bills, write those 5 people's names down. The people that actually matter, their opinions. And then everybody else, their opinions don't really count, do they? They don't matter. They're not going to show up to look after your kids or pay your bills if you're down and out. So don't let other people's opinions or fear of their opinions stop you from acting. Okay? Stop you from owning what you do. You know, I have an online business where I help and coach other people how to build an online business with a health program and a health product. I'm a lifestyle coach. I'm a health coach. Yes, I do network marketing. Have you heard of it? Yes, it's Juice Plus. Have you heard of it? What do you know about it? Are you out there wearing it like a badge of honor? Or are you a little bit afraid of people thinking, oh, she's just pushing a product, she's just in one of those schemes or scams, or she's one of those network marketers and I don't want to talk to her? Are you worried about what people are thinking? So I just wanted to share that. Write down the 3 to 5 people that actually count.
Kate, also I think when I was going to say, when you are asking those questions of, you know, oh, my friends will think it's a scam, my blah 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 blah, I think it's a really important time to ask yourself, do you think that as well? Because if you ask yourself that you think, you know, because I know that if I'm backed into a corner and my belief system is my belief system, it doesn't matter. So if you're sitting there and you're questioning, you know, what someone else might think, then that's probably a really key symbol that your belief system isn't quite there either. And we need to go there and set out for yourself. You need to go to become unshakable in your own belief.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess that comes down to things like price as well. Do you feel that our products are expensive? Like when you think, oh, well, no one wants to do it because they say it's too expensive, do you feel it's too expensive? Or do you accept that they don't value health as high as you do? It doesn't mean it's too expensive. It doesn't mean our product's shit. It just means their value is higher. Flea made an awesome example. She talked about Tupperware, right? People that would buy Tupperware say Juice Plus is too expensive. If you look in the catalogue of Tupperware, an oven tray is $75, right? And that's just something you shove in the oven. Like my oven came with 2 trays, but they'll buy that and they value that over their health. It's understanding they value those things over health, and that's okay. It's like they say, you know, not everyone's going to buy the sushi. All right. So we need to just check, do we feel it's expensive? And if we do, we need to break it down. You know, I look at the complete, it's $4.50. I look at the juice that I got for $7. Right. That tasted amazing, but I can get complete for $4.50. It's a no-brainer for me. And you know, Juice Plus, the capsules. I mean, I don't need to tell you what 30 varieties would actually cost. How quickly they would go off, and how hideous it is to try and actually house them in your fridge, 30 different varieties, and then ingest them. So for $3.90, it's a no-brainer. But what else?
I've got a few things, Kate, if you don't mind.
I'll just check if I'm finished first. Just going quickly through. I guess the last thing I'm going to touch on is she just listed 4 things. One was, are you sincere in your desire to serve others? So when you're struggling to looking for team, is it about you or is it about them? To take a genuine interest in people, okay? Ask questions about them before you're eager and excited to share about you. Really, really, really be genuinely interested in them. 3, curiosity about what makes them tick. So, you know, are they excited? Do they get excited about things, and what do they get excited about? So, you know, I know there's lots of people that don't really care too much about promotional titles, or they don't care too much about money. But if you were to stand up in front of everyone and publicly congratulate them, that would make them feel a lot better than a title, for example. And 4 is the desire to inspire and support others. So when you actually do have the team, are you really there to then lead the team, to lead from the front and to inspire and support them through the same process? Because there's no point getting a team if you're not prepared to go and show them what you just did. Because it's all about you get to a level and then you help someone else get to that level. We can't just get people and forget about them, right? So, and it's about sticking with them, because not everyone's going to fast track. So, you know, to get to SDBF, it might take someone 3 months or 4 months cumulative. Are you going to stick around? Are you going to be there for them? Okay, so I'll hand over to Sam now if she's ready. Here she is.
Hi. Thanks. So, just go back to where I was. I was just thinking about just going back a fair way to when we were talking about drawing the line, and above the line and below the line, and with how you're going to A, work on that process for yourself, but B, also how to have that conversation with your team and with people that are maybe having that below the line behavior. So this was from Linda, a couple of things that she said, and it's sort of like you workshop it through. And this is a massive HR strategy, this thing. So this is not just like a Juice Plus thing that's come up with. It's a like really well used thing. So the questions to ask either yourself or the person you're working with is, how's that working out for you? Then obviously they'll, you know, talk through that. And what's that costing you by staying in that behavior? And then asking, what's the real truth about it? So what it really is, like what's the real situation here, without the blame, without the shame, without the justifying, what's the real truth? Then you sort of need to sit in it and listen to it if it's yourself, really think about it, or with them, give them the silence. And then that's when you go into, okay, what's the 1 or 2 things you can do today to take back the ownership of that situation? Because the minute you take it back and you sort of take the ownership of it, you move above the line, you're owning it and you're back in control, rather than letting your excuses and your bullshit sort of run your life. So I thought that was a really cool sort of tool to, I guess, be able to work through that with yourself and with team members. Now we covered a lot of things just then, so I was going to talk about that. We've done that. One of the main things that I got 2 more things. We were talking about the structure in the business and when you've got a few team members, where your time should be spent. And generally, I'm going to do a live about this a bit more in detail, but what happens is you get sort of maybe your 3 team members and there might be one that's just a bit more of a diamond than the others. So that's where you spend all your time, and you get in there, you get in the sandpit and you play with that person. But the problem is you don't ever get out of the sandpit, so you're not building the rest of your business, and you end up just in this one structured thing, which unfortunately doesn't pay you the bills that you need it to pay. So what she did was draw like your lines out and say the aim is to get to 100 club is to have 10 lines and teach them how to get 10 clubs. That gets you to 100 club. So if you've only got 3 lines, then you've got 7 space. So 70% of your time should be spent on focusing on finding more team members and building your business wider. Not sitting and playing in the sandpit with your team that's nice and comfy, that's warm, it's fuzzy, it makes you feel good because it's doing well, but focusing that time and growing your business wider. But we'll go into that a little bit further later. What was the other thing? Oh, just following, I loved that thing about the 4 keys to productivity, which Kate touched on, which was, I don't know what I wrote down, I can't remember what it was, but at the end of it, she said a thing about, okay, yeah, there was a helicopter analogy. I don't really know what that was. But basically in network marketing, consistently every high earner will have 2 to 3 lines where 80% of their check comes from. Okay, so most people will have 1 or 2 rock stars in their business, and the rest will be made up of your 80% of your business, which is just sort of more doing a little bit of a hobby just on the side and that sort of thing. And that's okay. But what I really liked, and I thought this was a really good key point for why you need to get on training, why you need to do the professional development, but also the personal development. I think personal development, if anything, is more important in this business, because you are not going to get a rock star until you are ready. Does that make sense? Like, there's no way you're going to bring on someone into your business that is going to have all these things if you are not ready for it. So that's why you've got to put in the effort, you've got to put in the commitment, you've got to do the work. Okay, so I thought that was really cool. Saying that, she did follow on to say that studs can introduce studs, so that's why you need to sort of work with your team as well. Ant Gole then came on at the end of the morning, and he did a little bit of a sort of talk about values and about creating the avatar, and I don't really know what that means. I think it means about figuring out who you want to work with in your business. So this also comes down to your personal development as well, because if you don't know who you are and what your values are and what's important to you, then you're sort of flying blind with what you're wanting to attract and who you're wanting to work with. So what he got us to do was sort of write down, 10 steps and list your 10 values from highest to lowest as what's important for you. Okay, so it might be family is number 1, health is number 2, fitness is number 3, work's down the bottom. Some people might rank work above health and fitness. Just whatever your personal value system is, then when when you meet someone new or you're talking to someone about your business, if there's someone that just pushes your button or just they make you tick a little bit, not in a good way, you sort of know that there's a bit of a disconnect there and that your values aren't going to line up, and they don't line up, and it's probably not going to work. And I think that's really important, rather than trying to force this thing with team members where the value's not there, health's not important to them, and they don't see value in it. Guess what? They're probably not going to be able to align that in the business. So it's really important with knowing what the values are. I'm not saying everybody has to be health nut and health free, but obviously there's got to be some interest in that area for us in this business. So I think that was mainly it. Getting down to know what makes us tick, know your values, and live your values. So I touched on the other thing that I thought was really important in our team page the other day. That was just about the balance, but Kate touched on that as well. So I think I'm just having a quick look at the rest of my notes. Oh, that yeah, just with what Kate was saying about the beliefs and that sort of thing. If you're looking at your belief, truly look at your belief. If a challenge comes up, that's where you know you've got a bit of work to do. Like Nat was saying, like with the price thing, if that comes up as a thing for you, you've got some work to do there. You need to figure out what it is that you're not connecting with the value with this, so that when it comes up for you in a conversation, it's not so much of a hassle. But the thing is, when you work on that belief and your belief grows, it doesn't come up because it's not there. You're not attracting it. You attract what you put out. So if you're thinking, oh my God, it's expensive, you're going to be attracting people that think exactly the same thing. It's the law of attraction. So really work on your belief. Get it to where it needs to be. And that's the same thing that comes back to the main point is you're not going to get a rock star till you're ready for it. That's why it's so important to do the training. I think that's it. I think we've done an hour, so.
Awesome. Well, I'm just quickly going to share. I had a call with Linda yesterday, one of my team members, and I just loved really quickly what Linda talked about. It's perfect if you're in the mode of nurturing a new relationship, but if you've got a conversation that's been going on for a while now and they're like, oh, time's not right. Linda talked about going to, you know, your people that are at that point that have been thinking about it for a little while, right? And saying, look, I don't know if it's still on the radar, but business is booming and I'm going to be working with 2 to 3 people only to reach the epic promotion that I'm working for and to help them reach their promotion too. What if you could create 1,000, 1K before the big man comes at Christmas? Okay, so she really said, have a look, you know, at your conversations. And if you've got some that you've been drip feeding for a while, they've said, no, not right now, not at all. Why not go back to them and make that approach? So I'll just repeat it again. I don't know if this is still on the radar, but business is booming. And I'm going to be working with 2 to 3 people only to reach the next epic promotion and help them reach their promotion too. What if you could create, what if together we could create $1,000 before the big man comes at Christmas? Okay. The other thing too is to have a look at people in the health industry. You know, December, January is a hard time. People go on holidays, they pause their membership, they don't come for PT, all that sort of stuff. So it's a hard time out there. So have a look at the health professionals, at the PTs, at the people in the health industry that it might be casual, might get laid off a little bit, lose hours. Have a look at those and have a chat. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there. It has been an hour. It's been awesome seeing you all. Everyone, this is baby Harper. Isn't she adorable? So I just want to share baby Harper is 3 weeks old, 2 weeks old, but she was 3 weeks preemie and she's a Juice Plus baby, and at 3 weeks, 1 day preemie, she didn't need any breathing apparatus or any medical intervention at all. She was straight on her mummy's chest.
Wow.
How good is that? And look at our little Juice Plus preemie, beautiful baby Harper. She's delightful. Hey, so how cool
You
is that?
seriously are the baby snatcher.
They're easy when they're this age.
Hey.
They're easy when they're this age.
Yeah.
What are you saying?
So, you
She's
know,
waving.
Don't draw. Here, you can draw now.
feel free to share that story. And her mummy, Carly, who's sitting here, is one of our teamie. Carly has IBS. I'm sure she won't mind me sharing, but she suffered that for a very long time. And she had amazing results with taking Juice Plus for her IBS. And I'm certain that Juice Plus helped her fall pregnant and also carry this beautiful baby and bring her to absolute healthy life. So yeah, isn't she gorgeous? I love our Gispus baby. She's so cute. All right, girls, I'm going to end
Awesome.
recording and end it there.